if you want to go to employment courts, ask some dodgy interview questions like...
And they can't obviously use the answers to those questions for reasons not to employ somebody.
They cannot discriminate someone based on those.
But do you think it's still happening at the moment?
100%. I've interviewed with so many managers where I had to kick them under the table or intercept and tell the candidate, you don't have to answer that.
Ronnie Cheung, a recruitment specialist who has spent years mastering the art of finding the right people.
She breaks down the hiring process for employer and why culture matters more than ever.
You use a lot of psychometric testing, don't you?
Yeah, it is definitely good information to have. There's also personality profiling or how they prefer to work with each other. Those things are really powerful.
How can I find the right job? How do I know that I found the right job?
I think you will know that it's the right job for you if actually the cost of hire is 2.5 times the salary of that person. For a role that is 100K, it's $250,000.
Jeff Bezos, he's cracking down on his employees. You want to get them back in the office with no working from home.
Employers want their employees to be in the office because with COVID, a lot of that has been lost. They want to bring the team back together, get amongst the action.
How does the employer know that they've got the right person?
I would say that is when you know the person is...
What are some of the skills that we really need right now in New Zealand that are in demand and we haven't got enough of?
I think...
Quick one. Mina here. Thank you for watching this episode. I appreciate you. Thank you for all your support. One thing that you can do for me is to please hit the subscribe button below. A lot of people who come and watch this podcast or listen to the podcast are not subscribers. And so we're trying to increase our subscriber base. We are wanting to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I promise you that if you hit subscribe, I'm going to work hard to make sure that my episodes are really good, that will get better and better. So, do we have a deal? Okay, back to the episode. Ronnie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's awesome to have you. I can't wait. There's so many questions that I want to ask you that I'm going to get stuck into it. Tell me about your mission.
My mission is to help employers. I want employers to be better employers and be able to hire the people that really works well with their organization and help them deliver what they need.
I love that mission. It's quite a profound one. And it sounds like there's a bit of an underlay as to why you have it. What is the real reason behind why you want to do this?
Good question. My dad was a business owner himself, being barely high school graduated. He hasn't had a lot of, management or any, qualifications. But, he had a really successful business. And, it was down to being authentic, being a good leader. But, despite that, he still had some challenges.
What were they?
Mainly, with staff. Because he always said, you can be very good at managing stock, managing machinery, but it's really hard to manage people.
Yeah. It's managing people is one of the most difficult things. And I think as your job, being an HR consultant, means you have got to be on point with speaking to people and knowing different personalities and how you can basically matchmaking for the professional world.
Yes, for sure. And it's about asking a lot of questions, like you, asking a lot of questions, the right questions, to make sure, people are a good fit.
You have such an important role to make sure that the right person fits into the right organization. And so obviously I'm going to have a lot of questions for you. When it comes to, let's delve into a bit about your business and about you. I want to get to know you a little bit more. Tell me a bit about how did your early experiences of your life shape the way that you are today?
Yeah, I would say it started with mom and dad, and, they've always worked really hard. When I was born, dad had 3 jobs to, keep things going. When I was little, mom went straight back to work. And, when I was little, I had to stay home by myself from a very young age. Back in the day in Hong Kong, there's no legislation about not leaving your child at home by themselves. And so, I was at home by myself, like since I was maybe age 4. And I was just hanging out with my dogs that were like my siblings. And and I feel like, a lot of the, I guess, survival skills that I, had gained was, from that. And, seeing mom and dad work so hard, that's really shaped my work ethic as well.
How profound. And it sounds like you've had was it a good upbringing that you would say?
Yeah, I would say so. I learned a lot. No family, no upbringing is perfect. But from what I got, it's led me to where I am now.
Is that why you kind of refer back to your father's story more? Because he was the inspiration to you becoming an HR. So you went on to study HR or learn about HR. How did you become a professional in it, really?
It was seeing the struggles that my dad had faced in his business had led me to study HR. From studying HR, my first job was actually a receptionist, and administration and things like that, and that helped me learn about systems and processes. And then I, got my first HR job and had a little bit of experience with like disciplinary and a little bit of recruitment and restructure and things like that. But it's not until later in my career that I really fell in love with recruitment. And I feel like with recruitment, it is, not the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. It's really like at the start of that employment relationship, where you can really make a difference in who you have in your team.
What an impact I'm sure you have. You talk about the challenges. You were telling me before we recorded about the challenges that you've been having personally and how has been a bit of a challenge for you to overcome those challenges. But it is a work in progress as a professional who has to deal with a lot of external factors, have to deal with the inflation, has to deal with staff shortages, skill shortages, but have to deal with your own personal experiences from how you've been brought up, from your family. What is playing out right now that is really challenging you?
Yeah, I think for me, it's really, thinking about what I am good at or, what I'm grateful for, being brought up, I guess, in an Asian family, you get told to be humble, and, you get told, oh, you need to do better. So at the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, what can I do better?
Yeah. Is it like being perfect? Is there like an element of like, you've got to be perfect, you got to do it right, you can't make mistakes? Do you have that in your upbringing?
I have that. I have that. Yeah, I feel like, because I am representation of,
family.
Being Asian, being Chinese and what have you, I have to be really at the best of, on top of my game.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time.
How has that impacted you, though?
Yeah. Well, there's never, one way or the other. There's no upside without downside. And I get that. And, on the upside, it's made me want to keep improving in all aspects of my life, in my business and things like that. One of our values is Kaizen. Kaizen means continuous improvement in Japanese. And I really resonate with that because, if you don't always strive to be better, your business will go stale. So that's the, upside of that. And on the downside of that, it's self-doubts, kicking in like, oh, have I done this well enough? And can I do this better? Just doubting myself sometimes.
Is it the can I do it well or the imposter syndrome?
Yeah, it's imposter syndrome. Like, oh, people are going to find out I'm actually not as good as, as they think I am. Yeah.
Where do you think that's coming from?
I think it's, a bit of it is like about me not reflecting on the good stuff that I have done. We are all very busy, being busy, and not thinking about actually, well, I have achieved quite a bit. Business wise, started 3.5 years ago and we have achieved a lot. We went from just me being in the business to now having 4 people, including myself in the team. We have hired over 150 people in that time. We have worked with, over 50 employers during this time. So we have done a lot. But, sometimes I forget to actually, look at those stats to remind myself like how far we have come.
How awesome. And I can already hear it in your voice, the element of, I know what I've accomplished. Sometimes I have those doubts, but I bounce back. I don't stay there. Because a lot of business owners can get into the habit of having these thoughts affecting them, and they stay where they are and they just don't improve, sadly. And it actually stops them from becoming amazing and better. So I'm really glad that you have that sorted as well. And it's, do you find that you work quite a lot? Are you workaholic?
100%. Like if you ask my partner, my family, you'll hear from them that I'm working all the time. And I used to, work on the weekends as well. Just answer, a couple more emails and, just clear a few things up. But actually, at the end of the day, no one's going to die if you don't reply to those emails. And I really had to learn that. And the trigger point for me was really when I didn't know what day of the week it was anymore because I was working every day. And then I'm like, actually, like I really have to take a break.
Yeah. And how is it right now?
Yeah, it's a lot better. Like I definitely don't work weekends anymore. And now I'm trying to take one day off during the week. It's not always a full day, but at least I'm taking some time out just for myself. Just doing whatever that fills my cup.
Absolutely. What fills your cup?
What fills my cup? Like taking my dogs out. I like to do yoga. I don't do that enough, but I do enjoy it. I like to go get a massage. So I am getting, some of those things done.
That's so beautiful. I would love to delve a bit into your business in terms of what you do and how you do it. Tell me a bit about talent, connection, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys do?
Yeah, we help employers find staff on a commission-free basis. So instead of like the traditional recruitment agency model where they charge between 12 and 18% of someone's salary to hire someone, what we do is we work off an hourly basis because I don't believe in just putting bums on seats and doing that very quickly. I believe in actually finding out about the employers, finding out about their company cultures, like what good looks like for them, what success look like, how they celebrate success. I like to find out all of that. And if the things aren't going well, I want to know why. So we're not just, ambulance at the bottom of the cliff, or we're not just plugging holes. We're actually finding out the real reason and then, be able to find the right candidates that is going to help them fix those issues.
What sort of things do you specialize in?
We don't really specialize in, particular industries or roles or things like that. If you ask me, really what do I specialize in, I would say cultural fit. Because I think that is our point of difference rather than, just, an industry or, a type of roles. I think cultural fit is the most important because at the end of the day, you can teach skills, but you can't teach attitude.
Because you use a lot of psychometric testing, don't you, in your practice? I'd love to know more about that. I think it's fascinating. I don't know if it's being done enough.
Yeah, it is definitely, really good information to have as part of the recruitment process. And I would emphasize it as part of the process. It's not the end all and be all. It's part of the puzzle. Psychometric testing can include verbal reasoning, numerical reasoning, abstract reasoning, and preferences in terms of how people like to do things. There's also personality profiling, understanding how someone prefers to communicate, to lead a team, or how they prefer to work with each other. Those things are really powerful, and it gives employer a chance to know, this is like a better picture of what this person could look like.
That's awesome. And do you think it's being used enough at the moment?
Definitely not enough. I feel like people are scared of the cost.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a cost involved.
yeah, there's a cost involved, but you know, in the great scheme of things,
an investment.
it's worth it. It is an investment. Yeah, 100%.
Like in terms of the percentage of like, excuse me, how better it can be. How can you rather, I don't know, the question I'm trying to ask is, how good it is, can it make the process better? 10% better, 20% better? Because at the end of the day, you're trying to save money, or the employer is trying to save money. Is that one of the ways that you can save on a higher labor hire?
Yeah, well, the cost of hire is your time, money spent on like job ads, and money, you know, doing psychometric testing, for example, and training and onboarding. And if things aren't done well or aren't done right, legal cost, team morale, productivity, things like that. So actually the cost of hire is 2.5 times the salary of that person. So yeah, for a role that is 100K, it's $250,000. Yeah. So, you know, what is $210 on psychometric testing or personality profiling?
Yeah, when you think about
it that way, right?
Yeah. So I guess this is one of the ways that you can save on your hire. So what else can you do to be able to save on your hiring process?
Yeah. Having a very clear recruitment process, knowing exactly what you will do when, knowing exactly what you're looking for from the start, what the KPIs are, what success look like in the role. Doing really good pre-employment checks. So, you know, apart from just reference checking, doing police check, doing pre-employment medical and drug testing, credit checks if they are, you know, if someone is in an accounting and finance role, you know, things like that. That's going to help you, reduce the cost of hire or reduce the cost of a bad hire.
Because how long does it take to hire someone?
Yeah, it depends on the role, depends on the volume, and the number of applicants. But typically for us, it's about 25 days-ish.
Is that like average, or is it like up faster than the average?
It's about the average. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. When it comes to employees, I mean, there's probably quite a lot of questions at the moment that people might be asking, going, well, I'm looking for a job. How can I find the right job? How do I know that I found the right job?
Yeah, I think you will know that it's the right job for you if you know, feel motivated to go to work every day. You want to get up and you are ready to go. You feel empowered. You feel like you're supported in your job. And yeah, you feel like you are part of the team and you feel valued.
Now I'll flip the coin and say, how does the employer know that they've got the right person?
Yeah, that is a really good question. I would say that is when you know the person is performing up to the standard, and also they're doing what they are meant to do, and I guess essentially, you know, helping you make money.
Yeah, like reaching KPIs, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because this brings me now to this next thing that I want to ask, which is the gig economy, where the whole question about flexible work environment. This is like hot right now. I was just looking at LinkedIn, and it says there was a post by somebody about this, you know, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, he's cracking down on his like 300,000 employees. You want to get them back in the office with no working from home. And I was thinking, I've got to ask Ronnie that question, because I want to know from you, what's going on right now? Like, I thought that things have changed after COVID, but what's going on right now? Like, what's your analysis on the situation?
Yeah, I think employees want to have flexibility to be able to work from home, but employers want to have the employees work in the office. And I can see both sides. You know, employers want the employees to be in the office, so, you know, they they can build a better company culture, because with COVID, a lot of that had been lost. And so, they want to bring the team back together, get amongst the action, celebrate in person, really immerse themselves in that culture. So I can see why, employers want to do that, and they can see, good productivity as well, with people bouncing off ideas from each other and things like that. Employees, they do want to work from home, and there's, some good reason as well. If you're working on a big database or worksheets or whatever, you want to be able to concentrate. You can't have people come interrupt you every 5 minutes and, you lose your flow. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a fine balance.
One of the things that I really love about business is the fact that we can have an element of networking and community. See, I don't want to do anything in life that doesn't have community. I joined a new networking program called the Networking Group. The Networking Group is a collection of business owners and entrepreneurs and tradies here in New Zealand. The reason why I joined it is because I am able to, every week, have a chance to show up and have a great conversation with at least 5 business owners, get to know who they are, get to know their businesses, and actually find out how can we do business together. I have loved this experience so far. I think it's been such a great chance to, just practice my presentation skills, because you have to get up and talk about your business or talk about what you do. It helped me to practice my delivery and helped me to share my mission to the world. It's been such a rewarding experience. And perhaps you might want to check them out. They are called the Networking Group, TNG, and you can find them online. Back to the episode. Do you think the employer can, in this period of time, make people go to work every day in the office? What do you think? What do you think it's okay?
I think it depends on what the business is. There will be jobs where you have to be there in person. Like, for example, hospitality, you just have to be there to greet customers, or retail, you have to be there. But in terms of like support staff or, people that can work from home, I think, I think again, it's that balance. It needs to work both ways.
Yeah. And us, hybrid work, remote work, where I suppose the balance is. So the benefits is obvious. I mean, do you think that the claim that it is better you're more productive? There's been a lot of discussions about, someone was saying, we think that Jeff Bezos knows a thing or two about employing people. He's one of the wealthiest people in the world, and he knows. And then there's other people who've been, slamming him, saying he shouldn't be doing these things because he's like, people need to have that choice, especially after COVID. There's life, there's family, there's commitments. You've got to attend to these things. So it will be interesting to see how that's going to pan out, because I think he's given them like an ultimatum or something by January 1st next year that this is reported. I can't verify that. So when it comes to like jobs at the moment, let's go back to New Zealand. Can you tell me what are some of the skills that we really need right now in New Zealand that are in demand and we haven't got enough of?
I think customer service, being able to provide positive interaction with your customers, because robots don't have feelings and, they don't have empathy. So, being able to provide really good customer service is key. And I think the other one is leadership skills. You want to bring the team on a journey rather than just backing orders at your team to get them to do what you want. I think it's really about, how you can get the most out of your people by way of inspiring them.
It's interesting how you say customer service and leadership. I didn't expect that. I thought you were going to say some sort of technical thing, like AI training, because a lot of people now are going to be, a lot of jobs are opening up in AI. And some people have been saying that New Zealand is not ready because there's not enough people to provide those services. They're not trained enough, and that's why there's a bit of a scramble going on. Again, reported, I can't verify that, but there's a bit of a scramble going on in terms of finding how can we find the right people to the right job. What sort of sectors do you see the most demand at the moment in terms of what you see on the ground?
Yeah, I think, healthcare, definitely one. And, you can't get a robot to look after, your sick family member. You need that human touch. You need that human, care. You can use AI to diagnose, different health issues and things like that. And in some way could be better than humans, but that human care and human touch like that can't be substituted.
Do you think we're losing that a little bit after COVID? People have lost that touch, that customer service.
Yeah, I think so. I feel that people just aren't able to. Some people can't provide that anymore because they have been locked up. We've all been locked up, a couple of times, during COVID. And I feel like, some people can't do that anymore, can't provide it. And I think it's it's a valuable skill to have because we're humans and we need human interaction.
Absolutely. Let's talk about if the employer is trying to get into the employee's mindset, what are they looking for in the workplace?
Yeah.
I just want to know what they want so that I can make them happy and keep them.
Yeah. I would say flexibility. We just talked about that, but flexibility is a huge thing. People want to be able to take their dog to the vets or take their child to the doctor or, go watch them play soccer or what have you, that flexibility to be able to do that and be trusted to make up the hours or to get the job done whenever they can. I think that is really important. And even over salary.
Really?
Yeah.
So what people are looking for the most above wanting to be paid more?
The other thing would be career advancement opportunities. So maybe like training and development, knowing that they are able to move up within the organization or grow within the organization. The other thing would be like well-being leave or well-being allowances. That's quite important to people these days.
I went on Seek.com earlier in the year, and I was really inspired by the way a lot of the businesses and the employers have laid out the benefits. Some of them have laid out the benefits first, and then laid out the what they need from the employee, and that's been a kind of a bit of a trend. I noticed it wasn't like that before. There's the usual was, here's what we want, and here's what we can give you. Now it's become, here's what we can give you, and then here's what we want. And so when I was looking for, scanning through the companies that didn't even talk about what we can give you, and I thought, are you really for real? Like, can you not blend in and can you not get on with the memo and play a game? Because you've got to be offering something valuable to your employee. Otherwise, why will they want to work with you and stick with you and stay?
I feel like, some employees just they don't realize, that because the tide has turned where,
Do you think it's an employer's game right now? Like employers are in
these things kind of change from time to time.
Where are you right now?
I think at the moment we probably get more applications to each job, but whereas like before COVID, it was more because we are in a labor shortage phase, and the economy was growing, and we really needed to sell the benefits to the employees or potential employees. And so, that would be why, we are putting all the benefits up there first, because people want to know what's in it for me when they apply for a job.
So you are seeing a lot more applications now for the same job. Like, how many on average do you get applications for the job?
Good question. It depends on the role. Some roles we get more, some...
I'm keen to find out more from you now about the employers. So now maybe we can get into like the whole, okay, I'm the employee. I want to get into the mind of the employer. Now I want to think, what are they looking for? And how do I know this is going to be a good boss? Or is it a good leader?
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between, but we all know that we all use the word boss.
Yes.
But how do you know that you're going to get a good boss from just the interview? Because you can have a good interview and then there can be something different later.
Yeah, usually you get a chance to ask some questions at the end of your interview, and that is your chance to find out more about the company, about, that manager's leadership style. So yeah, I would say ask some really good questions at the end. Ask the person who is interviewing you, what is their leadership style? How do they celebrate success? How do they cope with failures? To get really understand how that employer or that leader works. Another good question to ask would be, what would your team say about you? Yeah, or even ask to speak to a team member, one-on-one, so you get a good picture from them.
There's some really good advice, actually. I had done that once in the past, and it was really good. I didn't get the job, but that's okay.
Did you find some good information?
Yeah, I did, because it's first-hand information from the person who does the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I was like, well, it makes sense to go and ask this person who already is doing the job. How like, what are you doing? What are your roles? What are your tasks? How often do you need to do this and this and this? What's difficult about it? How challenging is it? What did you need to learn? How quickly did you learn? All these questions like really help me to have a better idea and help me assess, is this job something that I really want to do or not? So they missed out on me because they said no. That's okay.
No, but those are really good questions. And you got a chance to find out more about the job. And on top of that, you can ask more about the company. What challenges is the company facing? What are some of the success the company has had? That kind of stuff, to really find out about the culture.
So there are some real great companies hiring some and attracting some real great talent. However, there are some companies that are doing a really bad job, and they could be losing their people very quickly. I know that you work with small to medium-sized businesses, but if you're speaking into those people right now and others in the same boat, what are the things that they could be doing right now that they could fast track losing those people so quickly into saying goodbye?
How to fast track losing those people or keeping those people?
Well, what are they doing that's helping them lose those people? Like, it's obviously not like, what are the bad things that they're doing that is contributing to why they're not being able to retain the talent that they have, and obviously what can they do to keep them? Right? Retention, staff retention.
Yeah, I think it starts from when they recruit. When they are writing the job ad or the job description, really, put together what the job is about, what will people do on a day-to-day basis. Be realistic about those. Don't sugarcoat anything. And also, what the KPIs are, what good looks like. Really lay those out. And, what does the company culture look like? How will people be celebrated? How will success be celebrated? Really be able to capture all of those in the job ad, so you are, attracting the right type of candidates. And then once you have found somebody, it's really about, like the onboarding process, making sure you have their laptops, their mobile phones and business cards ready to go. So, they feel like, you are ready for them. And also, sitting down with them, one-on-one, talking about the job, what is expected, and having those regular catch-up. And, if the company is big enough, then, you can set them up with a buddy, so that, not only, they don't have to just come to you for any questions, but, they can actually ask someone, that they can relate to, and they don't feel embarrassed about asking those questions.
Do you instruct your clients about the best ways to do this?
Yeah, we can help them for sure. We can customize onboarding programs, or we can give them some sort of guidelines so that they can, work on those to make sure they keep their staff member.
Then what in the situation where the employees started work, but there seems to be a bit of frustration coming in from the employer.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of frustrations have you been able to sort of observe so far in that regard?
In terms of onboarding new person, or
I suppose perhaps the biggest frustration in terms of recruiting people rather than them already started work.
Okay, yeah. The biggest frustration employers have with recruiting is spending the time. They say, I got no time to interview these people, or I got no time to go through their CVs. I don't want to do this, or cost. I don't want to spend money on, personality profiling or whatever. But, again, it goes back to that cost of hire. It is an investment. You need to spend time on it. You can't just look at the CV and go, oh, yeah, I don't like this person. Actually, you need to meet them first. Even if it's a short meeting, it's better to meet face-to-face to eliminate that rather than just judge a piece of paper.
Absolutely. And I think you're on the point there, because you don't want to end up in court as well. You don't want to end up in employment court.
100%. You don't want to end up in employment court.
Have you seen people do that? End up in employment court?
Yeah, I have actually. And yeah, and if you want to go to employment courts, ask some dodgy interview questions like, how old are you? Unless they are working in a casino or they are serving drinks where they have to be 18, then you definitely need to ask that. But if otherwise, age, religion, political views, whether somebody is married or not, if they have kids, those things, are
off limits.
Off limits, 100%.
Don't ask those.
Don't ask those.
Are they illegal though, or are they just illegal?
They are illegal because that breaches the Human Rights Act.
Wow, and they can't obviously use the answers to those questions for reasons not to employ somebody.
No, they cannot use that. They cannot discriminate someone based on those.
Fascinating. But do you think it's still happening at the moment?
100%.
Really?
I've interviewed with so many managers where I had to kick them under the table to stop them, or intercept and tell the candidate, you don't have to answer that.
Wow. Why do you think they do that? Is it because they don't know?
Yeah.
They're just not aware.
Sometimes they don't know. Sometimes they are just curious. And they want to know how old somebody is. They feel like if they know how old somebody is, it tells them how much experience they have. But actually it doesn't. It's about what type of experience that person has, or, how many years of experience they have in that field. Someone could be, could have started young, or, other experience might have, brought them to where they are. So, yeah, it's not relevant. Yeah, I would say it depends on what you're trying to achieve. Are you doing it to help people? Are you doing it for money? I think in terms of sector, we work very differently to the recruitment sector. If you classify us as a recruitment agency, then yes, that is saturated. But that's not how I look at it. The way I look at it is that we are recruitment support. We provide recruitment support. And, what we do is we help employers find the right team member so they can focus on the BAU rather than spend that time on, going through CVs, writing the ad, phone screening.
So you do all of that. So you do all of that. Do you write the ads? You look at the CVs? And is it like I'm going to do what you need me to do and I can do less? like an on-demand tailored service that you have?
Yeah, definitely. Yep, you've got that one. So it is. We do end-to-end recruitment. So from taking the job brief to crafting the job ad that captures, company culture, what the day-to-day look like, and things like that, to receiving applications, reviewing CVs, and then we would choose the candidates that we feel are suitable for the job, and we would phone screen them first to make sure they are who they say they are. They communicate well. They don't have any criminal convictions. They can pass a drug test. That kind of stuff. We phone screen them first, and then we would shortlist and send that over to the employer. And then the employer would go, okay, yep, I want to interview A, B, and C. We would coordinate that with them. We would provide them with an interview guide if they need that. And then once the interview has taken place, then we would do pre-employment checks for them. So reference checking, credit check, police check, and then personality profiling, things like that. And then if the employer needs to, we can help them draft the employment agreement as well, and make that offer to the candidates. And then throughout the process, our value add piece is really to keep the candidates engaged, and keep the employer updated as well. Yeah.
Gosh, that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work to do it well. And I think, employers can definitely do all of that, but that is going to take time out from their day, doing something that could be more important, that could be, profit generating.
One of the last, this is probably the last question I've got for you. We all know that there's a lot of laying off going on right now, and a lot of people are losing their jobs. There's a lot of more people out and about looking for work. Can you please give us, or give them rather, insights into what can they do to be able to land the next job that they need? And the best, I know you might have touched on this again, but maybe recap on what can they do to be able to do really well and get that job secured.
Yeah, the most important thing I suggest to any job seeker is really take the time to customize their CV and cover letter. Read the job description, read the ad really well, and highlight the skills and experience that you have on your CV. Make it easy for recruiters and employers to read, because there are actually studies done to show that employers or recruiters, they only spend like 20-30 seconds looking at a CV before they decide to go ahead or to decline them. So it's really important to help the reader pick out the information they need to decide whether or not they want to take that person to the next stage.
When you say read it well, read the CV well, and read the job description well, what do you mean by well? What are they looking for here? What's the skills that they need to be able to pick the right things? Like it's almost like reading between the lines sometimes.
Yeah.
What are they looking? What are they reading well here?
Yeah, I guess it's about reading, what that job entails and matching the skills and experience they have to that. You can physically grab a highlighter and go, yep, I have this, I have that, and then actually translating that back to your own CV and cover letter to show the employer, well, you're looking for ABC, I have ABC.
Is it good practice to focus on three skills and mention those, rather than having a whole list of things that you're really good at and it becomes too clunked? Like, I don't know, what's better? What works well? Is it the nice summarized bit, or actually being nice and detailed?
Yeah, I think it's about bullet points.
Yeah.
So it's easy to read, and targeting the skills and experience that the employer needs. I wouldn't say it's 3 or 5. It's a fine balance. It depends on the role. But I think like maybe 5 it would be quite good.
5 skills?
Yeah, 5 skills, or 5 things that you can do for that employer, perhaps, or what they are looking for. 5 things.
Does it help to hand them over a box of cookies?
bribery, I'm not sure if bribery works. I have heard people get jobs, I think in overseas, like, yeah, they deliver a cake and, it's got like their CV or something on it or their contact details or something. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if bribery works here. It doesn't work for me.
Doesn't. If I thank you so much. I mean, I just have one more question. If you are to look back and flip the pages of your diary or notes, it could be from today, it could be from any other point. What really is what would I find?
Lots of scribbles. I like writing notes. I like to note down everything that I have or that I need to do perhaps. But I guess my focus would be to continue to grow my business. And I would love for my dog to win the Rally Obedience Championship.
Oh, that's exciting. That's awesome. Well, I really wish your dog all the best and you. And thank you for coming on the podcast, sharing your insight and your skills and your experience. You've been a wealth of knowledge and appreciate your time and onwards and upwards for you, I'm sure. And finally, how can people get in touch with you, please?
They can go to my website. It is talentconnection.co.nz. Our number is there. They can give us a call and we can have a chat about what they need. Whether they are, job seekers or employers just wanting a chat to see whether we can help them. We're here for them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ronnie, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you very much.